there, guys, girls, gamers, everyone, it's me, GenuineParts, and we're back in If My Heart Had Wings! And we are currently riding the thermal wave up to the passage of clouds. The morning glory. It's gloomy and raining outside. What a better way than to chase weather phenomenon in this beautiful morning weather. That's because the thing that informs you of your glider's reactions the quickest is not the instruments, it's the seat that is in direct contact with your body. I talked about this last episode and it's true. While getting a positive response and not wanting to lose it, I paid close attention while operating the controls.
うまくサーマルに乗れたみたいね。葵くん、
葵くん。葵
くんは今手が離せない。あまねちゃん、うまくいってるみたいね。ああ、現在サーマルに乗って上昇中。高度500メートルに到達。おっしゃー。気流が荒れてるみたいですけど、上空はどうですか？かなり荒れているが。 でも大丈夫だ。葵くんが頑張ってくれてる。なんとか順調みたいね。そのまま雲の上まで行っちゃって。そうしたいのは山々だが。どうかしたんですか？もう少し上昇したらこのサーマルから離れる。どうして？リフトが弱くて 上昇速度が遅い。これじゃ間に合わない。
Oh, it's really tense. We won't be able to rise any higher here. The G-forces that felt so strong at first were now getting weaker. We'd risen to a certain extent, but we were now just maintaining the current altitude. If we stay here like this, the thermal might grow and we might be able to gain stronger lift. Well, if we think about the time, it's quite likely that will happen. This is because thermals get bigger as the sunlight hits the earth, which heats quicker than the air. And with this level of heat, the air close to the ground warms up, causing thermals to grow, I guess. Since last night was so cool, and when the morning sun hits the earth, more and more strong thermals will start rising. But we don't have time for that. If we wait a little longer for the sun to come up completely, the morning glory will disappear. We're getting out of this thermal. As we look up to the morning glory in the distance, we flew out of the thermal. Thermals are often thought to extend straight up, like a pillar through the air, but actually they don't go straight up. The same way, what was that? Probably a refraction. Just some light hit me. It's the same way that smoke is blown by the wind, thermals twist and then when hit by wind from the side. While we were climbing in the thermal that was leaning to one side because of the wind, we've moved further away from the morning glory. The morning glory doesn't just stay in one place. It's rotating as it rolls, moving across the lake. If it gets too far away, then we have no means than to catching up with it other than falling to increase our propulsion, which makes things difficult. Increasing speed. I push the yoke forwards, pointing the nose downwards. While sliding down the air, the glider accelerates. Whenever the nose is pointed downwards, the ground always comes into view. Amane, who is scared of heights, stifles her screams. Amane will be okay, this glider will not fall, I make sure of that. Hi.
落ちてる。嘘、そんなことないよ。ちゃんと飛んでる。でもまた高度が下がってるわ。サーマルを出たのね。この状況なら賢明な判断かも。サーマル？ねえ、サーマルって何？
Don't explain it to us all over again, please.
なんでもないわ。でもこのままじゃ落ちる一方よ。次のサーマルを早く見つけないと。
We caught up with it.
けど高度もだいぶロスしたぞ。
To get back the altitude we lost, we search for the next thermal. In theory, they occur more easily above ground that looks like soil or wide areas of asphalt, like parking lots.
あそこはどうだ？
Amani pointed the runway from which we had taken off. It was a wide area of soil in the sunlight. It certainly met the conditions needed for thermals to be made easily. Alright.
あれ？なんか戻ってきたよ。まさかトラブル？葵くん、葵くん、どうしたの？何があったの？
Don't panic, we're just searching for thermals.
トラブルじゃないのね。
That's right.
けどこの時間帯じゃサーマルを見つけるのも大変よね。ちょうどいい場所にこれから発達しそうな雲でもあればいいんだけど。他に何か目印はないの？あとは実際に飛んでみるしか。もう少しなのに。双眼鏡貸して。何かないか探してみる。
We did get some lift above the runway after all, but it was weak. It wasn't even enough to reach the heavy double-seated glider. It must be because the ground hasn't warmed up enough to create strong thermals. Damn it, aren't there any around here? In the meantime, the glider is gradually descending. Whoa! Then the wind came. Perhaps because of the influence of the morning glory, the airflow is being disturbed. The glider wobbles as it's hit by the strong winds, temporarily reducing the lift and causing a drop in altitude. I start to feel impatient. Should we have stayed over there after all?
でもそれだと。
The cloud from before was moving even further away from the direction we want to head in. Even if we can rise to the altitude we need, we would be too late. How much time has passed since we took off? Meanwhile, the sky has become brighter and it changed from morning glow to light blue. Looks like we can't... Oh, crap, not my words. Amani mumbled to herself, while looking up at the passage of clouds stretching across the sky. No, that's not true, it's right in front of us. We'll do something about it. Kotori and Agia were also looking for clouds from the ground. We haven't reached the time limit yet.
やっぱりだいぶ高度を下げてる。サーマルを見つけられないのね。どうしよう。このままじゃあの綺麗な雲に届かないよ。頑張っても上昇気流が吹かないんじゃどうしようもないわね。トンビが飛んでるわ。グライダーも鳥さんみたいに羽をバサバサやって飛べればいいのにな。だからエンジンを乗せればいいのにって。あら、どうしたのヨルちゃん。こっちへ来るみたい。ほんとだ、こっちに来る。変ね。こっちの空にもそれらしい雲なんてないのに。超頑張って。
That's too acute. You were right, Kotori.
間違いない。双眼鏡じゃ小さくしか見えなかったけど。
In response to Kotori's transmission, we headed across the lake towards Windmill Hill. There should be some thermals over there. But there aren't any clouds that seem to indicate thermals.
サーマルがあるからといって必ずしも雲が作られるわけじゃない。それに多分丘が斜面になっているせいだと思う。
You mean that the thermals occur more easily above slopes?
ああ、太陽光は地表に対して斜めに降り注いでいるだろう。けど斜面になっていれば その光を正面から受けられる。その分エネルギーが集中して温まりやすいんだ。
It's true, the sloping surface of the hill that we are heading to is shining from being in the direct light of the morning sun. How is it, Kotori?
いたいた、見つけた。さっきよりかなり高くまで上がってる。間違いない、トンビよ。
We can't confirm that from where we are right now, but it seems that a kite is flying above the hill. Kites are birds that glide to high altitude using upward drafts. In other words, there's a thermal over there. However, that doesn't necessarily mean there's enough lift to raise a heavy double-seater glider. But there's nothing else left for us to try. I didn't think of anything other than aiming for that point. Eventually, the glider crossed the lake and approached the hill above Windmill Hill. Foosh! Whoa! Suddenly we were shaking vertically. The variometer told us that the glider has dropped sharply. We've been caught in a downward draft? I panicked at the next moment. We felt a huge impact. Suddenly it felt like we were being pushed from below and the glider steadily floated upwards. Then a little later the variometer informs us that we are rising. We had ridden at thermal. It's pretty strong, we can do this, Amane. Yeah, way to go, Kotori. They've gotten pretty strong lift. I think they can make it. Leave it to me. Yeah, on the wings that you guys made. I don't think we have time for chatters. No, no, no. Also, we heard it like 4 times now. Oh man, those glasses really, not my glasses, not my eyeglasses, the glass I just used to drink. It's like seriously splashy. Before we knew it, a powerful thermals occurred above Windmill Hill had lifted us high up in the sky. We were getting closer and closer to the morning glory. We're getting closer, Amane. The clouds that from below looked small and intermittent were actually pretty big when we got close to them. I wonder how wide they are. At the very least they would be comfortably able to cover the width of this glider. Stretched out around this distance could go diagonally across the lake. That's okay. If we can keep going above the clouds, I should be easy to pass across them. The thermal that we were riding was pretty powerful. As Amane had just explained, the slope of the hill hits it directly by the sunlight, so it heats up quickly. In other words, that means that the difference in temperature is bigger compared to the surrounding area. If there's no difference in temperature, then thermals will not be created, and the difference is big, then strong thermals will be made. The upward draft that Kotori had found for us feels strong enough to take us all the way to the horizon. While this is happening, the sun is rising and the air temperature is increasing. Morning glory occurs for about 2 hours from the beginning of dawn. Come on, come on. I'm getting impatient again. However, if we try too hard, we'll lose balance and might lose altitude. While checking the rate of ascent in the variometer, I turned the glider to aim for the core of the thermal, the most efficient part. Eventually, the glider that Amane and I were riding reached the altitude of the morning glory that we were aiming for. Then we had soon risen above that and reached a position where we could view it from above. Thank God! And there is a video for you all to enjoy. It's really pretty. Look, Amane! We look still like we are below it. I knew you should be looking at it, but I said it anyway. It's because I was so moved. Is there anyone who wouldn't be moved to see a spectacle like this? With the bluish-purple sky in the background, the passage of clouds shone as they were bathed in the pale pink sunlight. Words like beautiful couldn't really express it at all. The word that came to mind was divine. My trembling hands gripped the yoke again to an altitude to allow us to stay above the clouds. I'd thrown into the thermal. I glanced at the front seat and saw Amane from the side. Her eyes were opened wide like a little kid's as she looked across the passage of clouds stretching across the sky. Amane, can you get the camera? Can you get the camera? Before we took off, Amakia had given her a digital camera. She asked us to take a picture if we were able to fly above the morning glory. This was the perfect viewpoint looking across the clouds. It looked like we're below it, don't get me wrong. Alright, let's go to that place. Amane nodded as if preparing herself. We didn't come here to look at clouds. We came to pass across them. Once we had gained enough altitude, I tilted the yoke and turned the glider. Now it's time for us to go! The airflow here was calm and we could fly without being shaken by crosswinds. In the upper parts of the sky there were hardly any clouds and the clear light blue gradient spread out in all directions. While paying attention to our rate of descent, we were traveled along the space of crystal clear light. We are approaching the passage of light. A rolling airflow occurs around the clouds, and if we can ride that, then we can pass along the passage of clouds as far as we want. We finally arrived. The morning glory was right there at our fingertips. And as I thought that... Oh, what's going on? All of a sudden it happened. As our view swung around, the divine road of clouds that should be there in front of us in the space of a moment was getting further away. We suddenly lost lift, and then a few moments later we realized that the glider was rapidly descending. Huh? I quickly pulled at the yoke, but there was no response. The field of vision spun around and we couldn't even figure out if we're facing up or down. What is this? What's going on? Is this a stall? However, there were no signs that was going to happen. It just like... Yes, it was just like there was no air and we had lost all of our lift. We're falling! I can't deal with that right now. The surface of the lake appeared from the other side of the canopy. We were falling with the nose pointing straight down.
Aoi-kun!
I leveled it out. In the heat of the moment, I didn't know which controls I used. Anyway, I tried to lift the nose up and stabilize the wings. Whoa! Whoosh. A shock ran through me that felt like the fuselage might be crushed. To us, the pilots, the vibration passed through our bodies, and for a moment I thought that we had crashed. Looks like it. Nose and the wings leveled out and the glider had gained lift and was floating. We were 200 meters from the surface of the water. In a moment we had fallen almost 800 meters. It was a few seconds later, it would have been too late. My whole body trembled with fear and relief. Are you alright, Amane? Her shoulders were shaking, but her reply was okay. What the hell happened just now? There were no signs that the airflow had become separated from the main wings, in other words, a stall. It often said that it can occur without warning, but for it to occur somewhere that had such stable airflow... You mean just now? If that were true, it was pretty strong. Do things like this really happen? Downbursts are powerful downward drafts. If a downburst, a giant mass of air, falls to Earth, it's powerful enough to cause severe damage. If we were swallowed by something like that, we wouldn't stand a chance. The place where we were was in the vicinity of the center of a lake, like Amane was saying. We were so distracted by the morning glory that we lost sight of our own position. Because of the lake, the air cools, and it's possible that a strong downward draft would be created. If the air itself falls down, a glider which floats using the power of the air would have no choice but to be taken down with it. That might be why we lost lift and fell, suddenly and without any warning signs. We heard Kotori's tearful voice over the radio. We're okay, somehow we managed to level it out. We don't know. Amane said that we might have been caught in a strong downward draft. And with this, I thank you all so much for watching. Don't get caught in downward drafts, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!